finding out when their book is going to be released. So I think I don't. Welcome everyone. I'd like to thank you for attending today's presentation, Marketing Magic for Self-Published Authors. I'm Angie Dole. I'm a trained psychotherapist, coach, and published author of over 20 mental health workbooks. I recently started a fiction novel, which I've been wanting to start for years, and I finally took the plunge. And I've also been busy creating and publishing Vella episodes on the Amazon platform. So I'd love for this to be an interactive workshop. So feel free to type your questions in the chat box at any time, or you can save them until the very end. It's up to you, but I welcome questions. So I'll keep an eye on the chat as we go along. And if you have any questions as we go, just please, feel free to pop them in the chat box. And I'm just going to add people as they come in here. Okay. Great. Okay. So first, I'd like to ask everyone, what is your biggest marketing challenge? Feel free to type in the chat box. You can go ahead and just type that in, or feel free to unmute and share. If you don't really know what your biggest marketing challenge is at this point, that's okay too. I hope we'll cover a lot of ground tonight, and it will answer a lot of questions. So in this training, I will be providing practical, actionable strategies for effectively marketing fiction and nonfiction books. Whether you're a brand new writer or a seasoned, experienced, published author, you will receive valuable insights to help build your brand, grow your audience, and increase your book sales. First, I want to point out that readers don't just buy books. They buy what books can do for them. And what do books do? They help readers escape, learn, grow, laugh, and pass the time. Books inspire, motivate, validate, and entertain. These are the things that you want to market. So my first tip is sell the feeling or the effect, not the book. Okay, and I'm just checking the chat. Ads are too costly. Yes, Don, I agree with you. That is, and Kat also said ads are confusing and expensive. Yep, that is, I would say that's a marketing challenge for many of us, actually. I have not started running ads yet. We will cover ads briefly tonight, but that is a training in and of itself. But ads are definitely a big hurdle especially for newly published authors who are just getting started. It is a very expensive endeavor. Okay. So first, I'd like to talk about the importance of building an author brand. It's non-negotiable. Your author brand is the unique identity that readers associate with your work, with your books. You are branding you as it reflects your writing style, themes, and the experience you offer your readers. It's about being human and emotionally connecting with your readers. Think of it as the promise you make to your audience about what they can expect when they pick up your books. How you write your books, the fonts and colors on your website, the formatting style you prefer, how you design social media posts, the focus of your blog articles, podcast interviews, and so much more all shape your brand. And all of this helps readers to form an opinion about you. And we still have people coming in. I did want everyone to know that there is a workbook, a booklet with this training tonight, and I believe Ty will add that link to the chat, or it will be available in your member section of the website. The recording of this training will be available in about a week, just so everyone knows, and I'll kind of keep reminding as people continue to come in. But there is a pretty lengthy workbook which covers all of this information and additional details that I didn't include in the slides. So you might wonder, what does an author's brand have to do with marketing your books? An author's brand is an essential element in marketing because it shapes how readers perceive them and their work. A strong brand builds trust, recognition, and loyalty, making it easier to attract and retain readers. An author's brand encompasses their voice, themes, genre, and personal identity, creating a consistent image. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a couple more in the chat. Oh, yep. Okay, so everyone, the workbook link is in the chat, and you can just click on that to open up the workbook anytime, and you can download that. Okay, sorry about that. So that creates a consistent image that appeals to your target audience. When readers connect with your brand, they're more likely to continue to purchase your books and follow you on social media. So here's an example. Consider an author who consistently writes uplifting, inspirational romance novels. Let's call her Samantha. If Samantha's brand reflects themes of hope and love through her website, social media presence, e-newsletters, and interactions with her readers, she'll attract an audience looking for that kind of storytelling. By promoting her books in line with this brand, she creates a consistent message that resonates with her target audience, making her marketing efforts more effective and driving book sales. Samantha has done her research, and she's very clear about her target audience. She crafted her brand to be appealing to those readers. Everything Samantha puts out reflects her brand, down to her book blurbs, her logo, and her tagline. So you might ask, what is a tagline? You'll want to create a tagline that describes you. You'll write something that fits everything about you, and you write it in 1 or 2 sentences. It's an idea or concept that represents you as the author. Optimize it as much as possible. If you're stuck developing a tagline, research the taglines and slogans developed by other authors. Highlight the elements that you like. You can easily explore authors' taglines on social media platforms such as X or Twitter. Just kind of do some research, see what really resonates with you as you develop your own. But your uniqueness will help you stand out from other authors. Avoid copying other authors' taglines or bios word for word. Start to develop your own brand voice, your own unique communication style that you use in emails, social media posts, and on your website. Your brand voice will also be used in other marketing tools. You have to keep your communication style consistent so that your audience knows what to expect from you. And next, we will talk about crafting your brand persona. That's the personality that comes across through your marketing efforts. It's how you communicate with your audience, both online and offline. This is a great starting point to developing your brand voice. You can type this in the chat if you'd like to share it or write it on a piece of paper, but I would like you to write down 3 adjectives that describe your author or brand persona. Think about how you want readers to perceive you. Are you mysterious, funny, romantic, inspirational? Just type in the chat or write it on a piece of paper if you don't feel comfortable sharing it. Just write down 3 adjectives that describe you. This is really the starting point for developing your brand persona or brand voice. And as you develop your persona, spend some time reflecting. Ask yourself, who am I? What do I have to say? What matters to me? Why do I write what I write? How do I want to be perceived by my audience, by readers? Where am I going? Where do I want to be? What are my unique strengths and qualities, and what are weaker areas that I can work on? So consider where your confidence shines. What's important to you? What are you most passionate about? And what do you struggle with? And Emmanuel says, my book was published by a publisher. A marketing package included a video and press releases. What else should I do? That's a great question. Sometimes you want to be cautious about packages that you're purchasing and make sure that they're comprehensive, because I know just from personal experience and talking with some published authors, they spent a small fortune on hiring an expert that put together a package for them, and they didn't end up selling many books at all. I worked with a woman, I was actually the editor on her book. She spent several $1,000s hiring someone that was going to market her book. And, you know, this person that she hired really presented a very polished package, talked a good game. She spent thousands of dollars and didn't sell a single book. So, Emmanuel, we will get into this further, but like I said, just be very, very cautious, especially if you are newly published, if you're a brand new author, and you might not have the budget to hire an expensive promotion company or person that says that they have all the bells and whistles. They have a whole package for you. But there are other elements other than videos and press releases. So again, you'll get the workbook. You can take a look at that, but I'll go through some of the other elements that you might want to consider throughout this training. But thank you for your comment. So first, one of the most important questions, obviously, is who are your target readers? Consider your book's genre and the age range of your readers. And this is where doing research is vitally important. You can spend a lot of time, and it's worth your effort and time to do the research about who your target audience is. You could even use AI, ChatGPT, to sort of develop that avatar of who your ideal reader, who your audience is. And it's really a lot of fun to do that with ChatGPT, because it will give you an entire description of who, your target audience, or someone that represents your target audience, what they might look like. What keywords and phrases do you want people to associate with you? So here's another tip. You search for keywords and phrases online to find like-minded authors in your genre. So this will give you an idea of the keywords that you're going to want to use in all of your promotional materials when you post your book on Amazon. Those keywords are vitally important. Again, it's another important element when you're doing your marketing. It's worth taking the time to develop your brand persona and voice. And in the workbook, as I said, the link is in the chat, you'll find pages where you can answer all of these questions and more to begin to develop if you haven't already. And again, maybe some of you are already, pretty seasoned. You've already developed your brand persona and voice. But again, you might want to revisit that and answer those questions again on the worksheet in the workbook. Once you locate authors in your genre, connect, follow, and engage with them. Search their names online and look at their social media accounts, their websites, etc. Where do they hang out? How are they putting themselves out there online? How are they connecting with their readers? And how are they selling books? What platforms are they using? Look carefully at their websites and their author bios. And of course, you never want to copy anything word for word, but you can pull some ideas and sort of start to shape them to fit you and what you offer. Some personas may resonate with you. So based on what you find, model them to create your own unique, personalized persona and brand voice. And then write it down, read it out loud, record it on camera, share it with others. Does it feel natural to you? Are you passionate about what you're saying? Polish it until it feels really natural, until you feel like it really describes you as an author. And if anybody has any questions, again, just pop them in the chat and I'll just keep an eye on the chat as we go. Would anyone like to share how they've developed their brand persona and voice? I would love to hear, some stories. If you want to share in the chat, feel free. And otherwise, we will go ahead and move on. So next, we'll talk about pen names and personas. Anyone can use a pen name, whether you're self-publishing or you're seeking a traditional publishing deal. Pen names appear on book covers, in the copyright notices, and they're used when establishing publishing profiles. Keep in mind that a pseudonym or pen name alone does not have copyright protection. Choosing a pen name is a strategic decision because it allows you to create a distinct brand separate from your personal identity or other books that you've already written and published. As an example, I use a pen name for my novel and my Vellas. My mental health workbooks are all published under my actual name, Angela Dole. It's also associated with my degree, so everything I publish in the field of mental health and psychology, I use my full name, my legal name, as well as my degree. Professionally, I'm all over the web because I've written many articles and blogs, the majority of which are in the field of psychology and the mental health field. So I decided to keep my fiction writing separate from my published nonfiction books and articles. There are many pros and cons to having a pen name. And by the way, you can have more than one pen name. It might just get a bit complicated juggling all the social media accounts, email addresses, etc., associated if you have many pen names, because you will want to create, for example, a Facebook fan page, an email address. If you decide to use a pen name, you will want to have social media accounts, email address, your website, all associated with your pen name. So some of the pros of having a pen name, you maintain privacy because you're separating your personal and professional lives. And again, if you write in different genres, say you write nonfiction books for a certain your professional field, and you'd like to write sci-fi or fantasy, and you'd like to keep them separated, or you just really, would like to develop a whole different kind of persona separate from your professional life, it's a great idea to establish a pen name. You enhance your marketability because you can make a pen name more distinctive or memorable. So you don't have to use your actual personality. You can create whatever kind of persona you would like to attach to that pen name. You can explore different genres or distance yourself from other books you've written. You may want to guard against retribution for your writing. And I have a great example of this. I'm assisting a friend, she's in the UK, in publishing her memoir. It's a book primarily about an ex-partner and his exploits. So it's actually kind of real and true stories that she's changed a few of the details, but if this person read the book, he may recognize himself in this memoir. She doesn't want him or anyone in her family to realize that that book is about their relationship. He wasn't really a nice guy, and she fears there might be negative consequences if he learns that she wrote a book about him. So she spent a couple of years even deciding if she wanted to publish this book, but then she decided, okay, I'm going to use a pen name. I'm going to go ahead and publish it. And she changed enough of the details, all the names, the locations in this book. So if he did happen to pick up the book, he may not recognize that it's about him. You can also create a distinct public persona. It might be easier to write if you're writing as someone else. So me, for example, I feel when I put on my pen name, it's like I'm kind of slipping on a cape and I'm writing as my sort of fictional character. I'm writing my fiction as my pen name. So it's almost, again, it's like I feel like I'm putting on a cape and I'm kind of slipping into a different personality when I'm writing my fiction. And finally, it's a great way to combine the work of multiple people. So if you wanted to work with other authors, you could work as your pen name with other writers on different projects. And can you think of any other pros to adopting a pen name that I haven't listed here? Go ahead and just type them in the chat box if you can think of some other pros for adopting a pen name. And of course, there are a few cons, including forgetting which name to use or failing to respond to your pen name, losing recognition from your work, potential legal issues. So you want to be sure to do your research about legal protections. And that's kind of beyond the scope of tonight's training to go into the legal protections of using a pen name. Conferences and signings can be complex if you're managing 2 or more names. And again, if you can think of any other cons or the negatives of having a pen name, please type them in, especially if you have a pen name and you have experience using a pen name. I'd love to hear your stories about how that goes. So if you are considering using a pen name, just write down the pros and cons for yourself as they apply to your specific situation. Okay, so understanding your unique selling proposition is essential to selling books. Tell your audience what makes you different from other authors and why they should read your books. Why should they pick up your book? Why should they go to Amazon and pay for your book? You might want to ask friends, family, or colleagues what they find fascinating about your books, what's unique about your books. This can help you identify previously untapped strengths. A strong USP becomes a foundational part of your author brand. It helps readers recognize your style, themes, and what they can expect from your future books. This leads to loyal readers who return for more. So if you write a series, they're likely to purchase the next book in that series because they know what to expect. They're excited for when you publish again, and they'll be looking out for that next book. A USP is like a promise to your readers. It clearly tells them what they'll get from your book that they can't get elsewhere, and it's crucial for long-term success as a self-published author. By defining your USP early on, you create a clear path for marketing, writing, and building loyal readership. So, okay. And then again, this is just kind of a summary of the USP when planning your series to ensure consistency. Say, for example, if your USP for your first book was a murder mystery with a supernatural twist, then your subsequent books should maintain or expand on that theme to keep your audience engaged so they know what to expect. And so next we're going to move on to the author website, one of my favorite topics. And I love building websites. I have a website for my professional name, but I have not yet built my website for my pen name. But okay, so how many of you have built your author website, or you've hired somebody to build a website for you? I'm just curious in the chat, if you just want to pop that in the chat, if you've already designed and developed the website yourself, or if you've hired somebody to do that for you. So your website is your home base. It is your author HQ, your headquarters. You own your website. Any other platform can go away at any time. Any other platform can be hacked. I know in our group, there's been several who have experienced, hacks either in Facebook or other platforms, but your website is yours and you own it. Social media platforms, you cannot rely on Amazon. What if Amazon disappeared tomorrow? What if Facebook disappeared tomorrow? I mean, it's a terrible thought to think, and it probably won't happen. But if you own your website, similar to your list, and we'll talk about your list in a few minutes, but really developing your website as your author headquarters and any other presence you have online around the web, all of that should point back to your author HQ, including your Amazon author page. Any articles or blogs that you write for other websites, any advertising, promotional pieces, your author Facebook page, X or Twitter posts, Goodreads, anything, everything needs to kind of funnel back to that website that you've created. And I'm just checking the chat. Yeah, Donnie says me with GoDaddy templates. Same here, Donnie. I just built my website a couple weeks ago with GoDaddy, and I found it really fast, easy. It incorporates AI. It was very easy because I don't have a lot of time. I love to build websites, but I just don't have the time. And GoDaddy was super easy to use. And Kat said, yes, built with WordPress. And that's great, Kat. I'm familiar with WordPress, but for me, WordPress, it's a little bit of a learning curve. And I don't at this time have the budget to hire somebody to build a WordPress site. Although WordPress, with all the plugins, it is really a great platform to use. But there are many, many others that you can, there's Wix and Weebly and all kinds, Squarespace. There's all kinds of platforms that you can build your site on that are very easy to use, very intuitive. So as I mentioned, everything should point to your website and everything should have the same consistent look and feel, which is your branding. So consider the following before you build your author website and create ads and promotional materials. So if you already have a website, this is, kind of irrelevant, but if you haven't built a site, these 5 points are something to consider. Your logo. Use fonts, visuals, or a combination. If you use fonts, pick a primary one and then an accent font. If you'd rather not design a logo yourself, hire someone on Upwork or Fiverr.com. And again, any of these suggestions I'm making, you can outsource. There are many professionals out there, again, who love building websites, who love designing a logo, who are very creative and can do any and all of what we're talking about here. Even writing your author blurb or tagline. And again, you can use AI to develop those as well. But understand that this is a lot of information and you don't have to take it on yourself. You can outsource, you can hire, for project-based team members. Let's see. So choosing your defining colors, very helpful when you create visual content. Again, we talked about the tagline earlier. Distinctive branded style elements such as graphics or icons. A high quality headshot because your fans would love to see you. And again, unless you have a pen name, then you may want to generate a headshot using AI. And I've seen in some of the groups some really cool headshots for pen names that have been generated by using AI. And it's very cool. We are living in a time when the sky is the limit in terms of creativity. And with AI, it just really makes things more efficient, so much easier to create an unbelievable amount of tools and resources for authors. So the following are elements to include on your website, everything I just mentioned, plus the following. So any links to where your readers can find you, such as your social media profiles, Those should really be kind of featured front and center. Your author bio or an about section, which is written in third person. It includes information about yourself, your books, and any other relevant details. This is a central piece of your branding. So you want to craft a compelling author bio to offer insights into your writing background, any achievements, and knowledge. So include what's interesting and relevant. As a reader, what do you want to know about the authors that you follow? And again, use AI to craft an author bio. Check out some of your favorite authors. Look at their websites. Look at their about pages. See what they are incorporating into their author bios. This will increase the confidence in your work when your readers get to know you. If you're a nonfiction writer, they want to know your professional background. So for example, with my nonfiction work, I highlight my education. I highlight my experience as a psychotherapist. I highlight, things that will sort of make me believable and credible for the content that I'm producing. Research any websites of your favorite authors or the best-selling authors in your genre. So check out what other authors in your genre are producing in terms of their bios. So what would you suggest including in your author bio? Think about this from a reader's perspective. And also, just as a side note, you will want to include your website URL, social media account links, and any other books you've written. Your bio is truly essential, and it really does need to be well written. It will be everywhere. It will be on Amazon, social media, in advertising, and more. Create a more extended version and a shorter version. So have two versions of your bio because you will need both for different platforms. The shorter one may fit better on a certain platform, but then if you are, for example, doing an interview on a podcast, they may want a lengthier bio with more information. Purchase a unique domain name as soon as possible. Use your first and last name or your pseudonym. So for example, I own angiedole.com. I purchased that a few years ago, actually, because someone suggested always purchase your name and in different forms. So angiedole.org and angiedoleauthor.com. I've purchased several variations of my own name. Purchase your pen name. So that's my primary website at this time. And again, it has nothing to do with the fiction that I write. It's advertising right now. I'm doing a training on AI for mental health therapists. I haven't really built it up yet, but that's where I'm directing people to go to sign up for these AI trainings that I'm doing coming up. So again, a website is a work in progress. Don't feel like you have to get it perfect before you publish. So let's see. I will build a second website for my pen name. So you might say, as for example, for Samantha Jones, our example earlier, you would maybe buy the domain samanthajonesauthor.com. Set up your email address, and initially you may want to just set up a Gmail email account, which is free, of course, but eventually you will want an email that includes your domain. So mine for my angiedole.com website is angie@angiedole.com. Add your email to contact information, for example, your website under contact me. Be very thoughtful about that email address because, again, if you use, my personal email is angiedole@gmail.com. I prefer, again, my personal email has about 80,000 emails in the inbox. So I really want to separate my author emails, anything related to books and publishing and content creation. I really want to keep that separate than my personal email. So it's worth it to be kind of thoughtful about your email address. And again, eventually you will want your domain, your website name within the email address, rather than just using a free Gmail or Yahoo or whatever email address. You want to sign up pop-up for list building. So on your website somewhere, you want to have a pop-up or a contact form so that people can sign up for your list. You may also include book trailers, videos, anything else you've added to your website that you believe is essential for authors. And again, the sky's the limit. Make it very relevant to that website. You might, just really want to keep the author website focused on the books that you've published and just kind of keep it very simple. But there are, again, you could include any number of things. You can include audio files, videos, links, make sure you link to all your social media accounts. And you may want to consider writing a blog, which may attract more visitors than just a static website. Google really favors sites with higher activity levels, higher traffic. So updated and fresh content is really important. You do want to update your site pretty frequently, because gaining Google's favor significantly boosts your visibility. And to elevate your website's positioning, engage in blog exchanges, write guest posts or articles within your niche, and include links to your website, moving that traffic back to your site. So for example, I solely write in the psychology, self-help, mental health arena. So this is a cost-free opportunity for me to gain exposure and expand my audience. However, as many articles as I have out on the internet, in my author bio on these various websites, I don't really have my website yet. So I need to go back and kind of track that down and say, hey, could you please include my a link to my website to direct that traffic back? But I've been writing now for a couple of years before I even developed an author website, before I even decided, hey, I'm going to make a business out of this. So as I said, that's just psychology, self-help, mental health. And I have a lot of articles and blogs that I have on many, many different sites. And I just kind of need to curate that, send them my link so that that traffic is, they may read an article and say, hey, I really, really enjoyed this. I'd like to find out more about Angie Dole and see if I maybe could hire her to create content or book a consultation. So it's just very important, again, to get this website set up so that even if it's a simple landing page, if you don't have time to create a full-blown website, just a landing page where you can direct that traffic. And again, when you're writing for other people, it's a cost-free opportunity to gain exposure, expand your audience, and always seek opportunities for visibility. That can extend to podcasts, radio interviews, even TV appearances. So those are just, a few ideas. And again, if you're doing YouTube videos, you could post those videos on your site. There's just, the sky's the limit. And if anybody has, again, any other ideas you have what to include on your website, what you have found has worked or hasn't worked very well on a website, just pop it in the chat and I'd love to discuss it further with you.